Collateral recently celebrated its 20th anniversary this month, and so I went and revisited it because it is one of my favorite movies of all time, so let's review. So Collateral centers around these two guys, Vincent and Max. Max is a taxi driver that picks up Vincent, and it turns out that Vincent is a hitman that was hired to go out in the night and take out some people that is part of this case. And meanwhile, the relationship between Vincent and Max continues to grow. But will it grow for the better, or will it grow for the worst, as Max continues to try to figure out how to get out of this situation? Now, I remember the first time I watched Collateral, I believe it was around Thanksgiving 10 years ago. I watched it with my family. My grandparents were in town. We all watched it. We all enjoyed it. We all loved it. And this movie did come around the time when Jamie Foxx was like the #1 actor in the world between Collateral and Ray, which I will get into real soon. But the big selling point of this movie was Tom Cruise, which I will get into in a little bit. But like I said, I love this movie. I just love the neo-noir feel of this movie. I also love how this movie was, I think it was one of the first films to be shot entirely on a digital camera, which definitely worked for the vibe of this movie. And this movie is directed by Michael Mann, in which, of course, I've seen this. I've seen Ali. I've seen bits and pieces of Miami Vice, but I have not seen his classic Heat, which, don't worry, it'll be celebrating an anniversary next year, so I will surely make sure I watch that next year. But outside of Michael Mann and the digital aspect of this film, I also love how contained this is. I mean, the majority of the movie does take place in a taxi. Now, Tom Cruise, he is ruthless. He is focused on his job. He only has one job, and that is take out the people on his list. And he's just has a detached personality. He's manipulative, but at the same time, he's also kind of charming at times, especially at the times where he has to work with Max, played by Jamie Foxx. And this is also kind of a different role for Jamie Foxx. A lot of people consider this one their favorite Jamie Foxx performances, and in truth, they're not wrong, but I've always liked Ray more. But again, more on that when we get to that movie at some point. But I just remember watching Jamie Foxx in this movie was just amazing, because again, he's really not playing himself. He's not even the funny man. Granted, he has some funny moments, but he has to play a totally normal person, and he plays that perfectly. Some other actors within this movie I didn't even realize was in this movie up until either recently or a couple of years ago. Mark Ruffalo, who plays a detective that is investigating all of these killings, and he's putting everything together. You got Jason Statham at the very beginning of the movie when he exchanges packages with everything that Vincent needs. One of the earliest performances of Jason Statham. Harvey R. Bardem, I really did not know was in this movie. He's in the club scene, and he even I heard that he had to learn English to be in this movie. All these characters are kind of insular to the overall plot, but they do play into the mystery of it all. While all that's going on in the background, you still got Vincent and Max in the forefront. I'd say the only negative I have about this movie is that it does kind of slow down in the middle, but other than that, this movie was still engaging enough to keep you on the edge of your seat. But of course, in spoiler alert, I gotta talk about the ending of the movie, in which is one of the things I love about the setup of this movie, in which at the beginning, before Max even meets Vincent, you get Jada Pinkett Smith's character, and between her and Max in the movie, they two kind of form a bond, and they kind of get into each other, so that at the end of the movie, when Max realizes that her character is on the list, and he gets on his little white knight shit, and then goes at the end of the movie and try to save her, and he does, and that's really where the movie just brings it all home for me. Is that nothing is trivial in this movie, is that what happened in this movie, it will become important at the very end, and it gives Max something to do at the very end. And I just love this part right here where Vincent falls. And it turns out that wasn't Vincent. That was all Tom Cruise. That was a happy accident that they kept in the movie. To me, this is one of those movies that just ages like fine wine on a production level. It is also an entire vibe in itself, and a nice time capsule to see what both Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx can do as actors. I also enjoy how this movie can get a bit metaphorical at times without getting too philosophical. And it's about how there's millions of people in this world, and do you think one of them cares about each other? And that's something that Vincent was trying to tell Max in the end. I'm gonna give Collateral the heart eyes emoji.